I'm Marzyeh Ghassemi. I'm an assistant professor in ECS, and I'm here at MIT. And I did my PhD here. I went away and was a professor at University of Toronto for a couple of years, and they invited me to come back, so I did. I did a master's at Oxford, and when I was there, I was working on some wet lab research and then also a little bit of prediction for whether people would develop asthma or not. And it was really exciting because we found that there were a lot of environmental factors that aren't well modeled in this ultimate outcome. And then we got access to some ICU data from a hospital here in Boston, from the MIMIC data set, which was created at MIT. And I remember at the end of my master's when we're trying to model all of these really difficult physiological concepts, like whether somebody will need an intervention, the person I was being advised by said, you seem to be really interested in this. Maybe you should think about going to MIT for your PhD. And I did, and the big thing that I worked on during my PhD was trying to understand whether we can use some of these very high-capacity neural network models to understand when human physiology is going to break down or deteriorate. Because usually in the hospital, that means you need a specific kind of intervention. Maybe you need a vasopressor or a ventilator. And maybe you need more experienced staff to be on hand. And so we would like to know that ahead of time so that you can have people there who know how to do specific interventions. And so this kind of research was very exciting. And at the end of my PhD, I was asked by one of my committee members, you have these really interesting papers about predicting the need for different kinds of clinical interventions. Have you ever looked at how these different models perform across different kinds of patients? And for me, it was really eye-opening because up until that point, I did what most people in machine learning do. I reported my performance in aggregate. We do this well on all of the students that we see, all of the patients that we see, all of the objects that we classify, all of the images that we try to look at, right? This is a general machine learning thing. And when we looked at the stratification of how well these state-of-the-art models were doing on different kinds of patients, they were doing significantly worse in minorities and minoritized patients. And that's really problematic because, we already know that in health there are social biases that may play out and give people less access or maybe have them experience worse or poorer care. That's really unfortunate, but if it bleeds into our training of deep neural models and then a recommendation is given with this sort of sheen of objectivity, that could propagate these things even worse. And so it's a really exciting space to be in because doctors are overburdened, there's a lot of information, there's a lot we don't know in medicine that machine learning models could really help us with. They're these superhuman pattern recognizers. But it's also disturbing sometimes because we don't want them to follow all the humans all the time. Sometimes we really want them to do something better than we do. And in those cases, we have to know when they should follow the data that we have versus maybe ignore some bad examples that we're giving.